Hey guys, another video for the Pilots in Japan playlist. Gonna go for a bit of a fly today. So first stop was by this control tower where there's a flight information center. Collected META and SPECI and TAFs and all that sort of stuff, NOTAMs. Pretty similar to what you find anywhere else. Lodged a flight plan that was fairly similar to what you'd find in other countries too. Nothing really radical there. A couple of staff in there that could speak English reasonably well. Of course they have to deal with international pilots and that sort of stuff, so that was all fairly standard, nothing unusual. And then out onto the apron. Couldn't walk along the apron without taking some video though. For those of you who are into this sort of thing, I thought you might be interested. There's a fully armed helicopter, guys. Those people who don't think there's a military in Japan, Japan's Self-Defense Force shares this airport. So there's fully armed helicopters and fully armed aeroplanes flying around, keeping an eye out for the North Koreans, I guess. I believe that's a police helicopter. You can see the military base over the other side of the airfield there. I was sort of busy this day. It's the first time I've actually flown as pilot in command in Japan, so a little bit of pressure on. Haven't flown a 172 for 6 years either, so a bit rusty, so a little bit of pressure on. I would have liked to spend a bit more time putting together some more video for you guys, but I had a lot of other stuff on my mind, so just shot a couple of bits and pieces for you while I was preparing. Bit of fun. See the Air Force planes over the other side there? So yeah, 172, very nostalgic, like an old friend, the 172. Hey, how you going? Same as the ones I used to fly in Oz, but I haven't been anywhere near one of these for about 6 years, so had to try and remember how to do it. Yeah, what's this doing? What's that red light that's flashing? What's this for? I don't know. What's that for? Don't know what that's for. And off we go. So again, guys, I was fairly sort of focused on this exercise. I really wanted to pay attention to what I was doing, and as a result, I didn't get to do the same what I would have done normally with the video. So I just basically clamped a camera onto my headset. So it was a bit out of control because, of course, my head was busy. So I didn't get the best footage in the world. I had to cut it up a lot because when I was busy, my head was scanning instruments and moving around the cockpit a bit, so it would have made people motion sickness, I think. Would have given people motion sickness if I'd left it uncut. It was pretty wild, but anyway, for those of you who are into this sort of thing, I guess I'll give you a bit of an idea what it's like. Flying over a big city in Japan. Not the best visibility, as you can see. Fairly sort of a cloudy, hazy sort of day. Of course, there's a bit of a pollution there, but I think most of what was going on this day was a really hot and humid day close to the ocean, so I think we're getting a bit of humidity there. There was cloud building up. By the end of the day, there was a fair bit of cumulus around the place, so I guess that was what was going on. It wasn't the best conditions. We'll do some more of this. We'll get out in better weather and do something better with the camera so that you get some better shots. This is actually over a big port. See down there, you've got all the Toyota cars all lined up, ready to go on the boats, ready to get on the boats and get shipped around the world. So yeah, this is just sort of getting acclimatized, you know, getting used to it, and then once we get it sorted, then we'll go on some good little ventures around the place and get some really good footage. You know, good weather and a good camera and a bit of good planning. I think we should be able to get some fairly spectacular footage. So it's sort of interesting. What are you guys interested? You pilots are interested in radio. Radio is fairly interesting. There was a couple of air traffic controllers whose English was pretty good, their pronunciation was pretty good, but the majority of them, we did a lot of frequency changes, of course, you know, tower, ground, departures, arrivals, radar, so few frequency changes and spoke to a fair few different air traffic controllers. A couple of them weren't bad. A couple of them, their English was pretty good and their pronunciation was pretty good. Those of you who aren't aware of this sort of stuff, international language for radio, for pilots for radio is English. So the idea is that all air traffic controllers can speak English to a certain proficiency level, but the reality isn't quite that. There's a couple of them were pretty good, but there was some of them were just terrible. I couldn't understand what they were on about. I had to ask them to repeat and repeat and repeat, trying to understand what they were saying. So bit of a challenge. And when they were talking to the Japanese pilots, they kept changing to Japanese, and they preface it by saying, I'm going to speak in English. They say, I'm going to speak Japanese now, and then they give all the directions. If it's something a bit tricky, if it's standard sort of simple stuff, they were using English. But then when they had to sort of get something a little bit more tricky, they'd say, I'm going to use Japanese now, and then they'd speak Japanese, and the pilots would speak Japanese back, and they got this big Japanese conversation going. So yeah, interesting, really difficult to understand. It's going to take a while to get used to listening to them. I had to keep getting them to repeat stuff so I could understand them. But the procedure's all similar to what they are in other countries. Nothing terribly radical. What else would you guys be interested in here? Transponders and all that sort of stuff, radars, all very similar to what we'd use in other countries, I guess. Sort of international standards, for flying, so pretty similar. Big metal, it's a big metal company down there, making metal, making steel. And a nice bridge. It's not busy, guys. That's one interesting thing that's a bit surprising, is that there's not a lot of general aviation in Japan. Most of it's heavy regular transport, so big aircraft flying at high altitude. So GA stuff is mostly a few small aircraft and helicopters, but it's surprisingly not busy. This is over the middle of a really big city, and yeah, the traffic was really light. It was all above us. It was all the big heavy stuff up above, and as long as you stay out of the busy lanes and stay down a couple of 1,000 feet, it's all pretty cool actually compared to other countries. So that was pretty cool. That was surprising, huh? We really expected it to be busier than that, but that's Nagoya Castle down there, straight ahead. That's pretty cool. Bit of a bumpy day. Camera on the head and a bumpy day is not a good combination. Sorry about that. We'll mount it next time. I'll mount it somewhere so it stays fixed. Might get some better footage that way. Be a little bit less busy than it is. Just trying to think what else you guys are going to ask. What else are the pilots going to want to know? Oh, the cost, I guess. Neiman Yonsen-en an hour wet. So it's about $300 or something. So here we are, downwind for a right-hand circuit. 1,000 feet, light aircraft, 1,000 feet. Turbines and jets 1,200 feet in the circuit, and helicopters 800 feet in the circuit. So maintaining your 1,000 is pretty relevant when you've got helicopters below and jets above. Particularly military base, because they got 800. They got helicopters whizzing in and out at 800, keeping busy, and jets over the top at 12. So it's pretty busy. So this is the first landing in a 172 in more than 6 years. visited Australia about 6 years ago and had a bit of a fly around in a 172, and that was about it. So not that they're a difficult aeroplane to fly, the 172, of course. The pilots know that it's one of the simple aeroplanes to fly, but it had been a while, so I was a bit out of touch. The guy that's with me is just showing me around, pointing out a few bits and pieces that are a little bit different, just mainly to understand the radio. He's there because he's got the radio license too, and I kept saying to him, "What'd he say? What'd he say? What'd she say? What'd she say?" So a bit of a thermally day, a bit of up and down, bit of a crosswind going on. I'm not making excuses. The bad landing that you're about to see wasn't as a result of the weather. It was a result of me being very, very rusty. Yeah, so far so good, right? It's looking alright so far. Got a crosswind from the right there, which is why we're a bit crabbed across. You know, threshold's okay, straighten it up, right wing down a little bit. It was all okay up until now. Flared a bit high, got a bit slow, flared a bit high, and it stalled. Beep, boom. Oh, it's terrible. That was terrible. Anyway. It was dramatic, wasn't it? So now, just need to get back out there and get some more circuits happening and get current and get the skill level back up again. So anyway, it was fantastic to get back in the air again under command. So we'll do some more of that soon. More videos coming soon.